It is 5 AIs versus the betting market. Listen to the AIs give their analysis on each proposal and compare their answers against the betting market. This video is not financial advice. On to the first proposal. U.S. recession in 2025?
No, I believe the U.S. economy will avoid recession in 2025. While there are concerns about inflation, geopolitical tensions, and monetary policy effects, the labor market remains relatively strong. Consumer spending has shown resilience, and corporate earnings have been stable. The Federal Reserve's policy adjustments appear to be managing inflation without triggering a severe downturn. Economic indicators suggest slower growth rather than contraction.
No. While several forecasts indicate a significant slowdown in U.S. economic growth for 2025 and some even suggest a stall speed, the prevailing sentiment among many economic institutions, like J.P. Morgan and EY, is that a full-blown recession, defined as a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, is currently avoidable. The probabilities of a recession vary, but many are below 50%, with some closer to 30–40%.
I choose no, because current economic indicators like steady GDP growth and strong employment suggest resilience despite risks like inflation. I believe the Fed's cautious policy will soften downturns.
No, I don't think there will be a recession in the U.S. in 2025. I say no because major forecasters like Goldman Sachs and IMF still peg the odds below 40–45%, and J.P. Morgan and the St. Louis Fed show recession probability models under 50%, suggesting lingering growth despite risks.
No, I believe the U.S. economy will avoid a recession in 2025 as consumer spending and business investment remain robust, supported by Deloitte's forecast of 2–6% GDP growth. Recent tariff reductions also lower economic risks, despite some negative indicators like a 0–3% GDP contraction in Q1. These are driven by temporary factors like import surges, not broad decline.
U.S.-Iran nuclear deal in 2025?
No, I don't believe the U.S. and Iran will reach a nuclear deal in 2025. The relationship remains deeply strained with significant mistrust on both sides. Iran's nuclear program has advanced considerably. Regional tensions involving Israel and proxy conflicts complicate negotiations, and domestic political pressures in both countries make compromise difficult. Previous diplomatic efforts have stalled, and current geopolitical dynamics don't favor breakthrough agreements.
No. Despite some reports of indirect talks earlier in 2025, the current geopolitical climate, particularly the recent Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear and military sites, has led to the cancellation of planned negotiations. Iran has deemed talks unjustifiable given the ongoing conflict. While there's a desire for a diplomatic solution from some parties, the immediate environment suggests a deal is highly unlikely.
I choose no because tensions remain high and neither side has shown enough willingness to compromise. Domestic politics in both countries also make concessions unlikely in 2025.
No, I don't believe the U.S.-Iran nuclear deal will be achieved in 2025. The collapse of indirect talks following Israeli strikes, Iran ruling negotiations meaningless, and Tehran's outright rejection of U.S. proposals show diplomacy has faltered. I'm 70% confident in this assessment.
No, I believe a U.S.-Iran nuclear deal is unlikely in 2025 due to recent Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and the cancellation of scheduled talks in Oman. Iran's retaliation and distrust of U.S. intentions further complicate diplomacy. Despite Trump's urging for a deal, the escalation suggests negotiations are stalled.
Trump and Elon publicly reconcile before July?
No, I don't believe Trump and Elon will publicly reconcile before July. Their recent feud appears quite serious, with the White House reviewing SpaceX contracts as potential retaliation and Trump stating he has no plans to speak with Musk. The conflict involves fundamental policy disagreements and has escalated to personal attacks. Both have strong egos and public positions to maintain, making a quick reconciliation unlikely.
Yes. Recent reports from early June 2025 indicate a significant softening in the public feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Musk has publicly expressed regret for some of his critical posts about Trump, stating they went too far. Trump, in turn, has called Musk a friend, who got a little bit strange, but also said he likes Tesla and appears open to reconciliation. While a full return to their previous close relationship is uncertain, a public reconciliation, at least in tone, seems to be occurring.
I choose yes, because both have incentives to mend ties. Trump for political out-of-business alliances, Musk for influence. Their past conflicts weren't deeply personal, and public gestures benefit them.
Yes. Trump and Elon have publicly reconciled before July 2025. Musk called Trump on June 10 to express regret, publicly apologized for his harsh posts on June 11, and Trump described Musk's apology as very nice, referring to him as a friend again.
Yes, I believe Trump and Elon will publicly reconcile before July 2025, as recent reports indicate de-escalation efforts, including Musk expressing regret for inflammatory posts and Trump stating he has no hard feelings. Their history of mending ties and mutual political interests suggests a resolution is likely.
Trump invokes the Insurrection Act before July?
No, I don't believe Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act before July. While he has discussed using military force for domestic issues during his campaign, actually invoking this act would be an extraordinary step requiring severe civil unrest or state-level resistance to federal authority. The legal and political costs would be enormous, and current conditions don't suggest the level of crisis that would justify such action.
No. While President Trump has spoken about the possibility of invoking the Insurrection Act, particularly in relation to immigration enforcement and protests, and has recently deployed federalized National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles, he has not officially invoked the Insurrection Act itself. The current deployments are under different authorities, specifically 10 U.S.C. Cell 12406, which do not grant the same broad powers as the Insurrection Act. There has been significant legal debate and resistance from state officials regarding these deployments, further complicating any potential full invocation.
I choose no, because while Trump has hinted at aggressive executive actions, invoking the Insurrection Act would face immediate legal and political backlash, even from allies. Current conditions don't justify such an extreme measure yet.
No, I don't think Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act before July. He's deployed National Guard and Marines in LA and said if there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it, but as of mid-June, he hasn't formally invoked the act, and legal challenges are already blocking his troop usage. Courts and experts emphasize it's a dramatic, rare step unlikely to happen in the next 2 weeks.
No, I believe Trump is unlikely to invoke the Insurrection Act before July 2025. The April 18 report from DOD and DHS recommended against it, and despite recent Los Angeles protests, Trump has not explicitly declared an insurrection, only hinting at the possibility. Political backlash and legal challenges also deter action.